Thank you, Honorable Member. Next member.
Thank you very much, co-chairs. My first question is again to the Minister. Minister, if you can just confirm the delegations since you came into office, because I don't know if maybe it's changed or if it stayed the same, if you can just give us an update. And the reason why I ask this is because we should know who to hold accountable. Yes, ultimately we hold the minister accountable, but if there is a delegation for the deputy minister, then at least we know who's doing what and who's responsible for what. Now, Minister, before I get into the questions, and we had a bit of a moment in the last meeting, and I'd like another moment with you, Minister. You know, this spending of 176% is a lot of money, and the explanation given by the department is not very convincing, Minister. And I would like to put it to you, and maybe something you can think about. But surely it deserves a forensic investigation. Because the CDA tells us when they were here, as the Honorable Reverend mentioned, that they didn't have meetings, and you said that they did have meetings. So which is it? Did they have meetings? Didn't they have meetings? Did they have online meetings? Did they have physical meetings? And how did it cost millions of taxpayers' money? So, Minister, please look into a forensic investigation, because it's not adding up in terms of the money being spent. Speaking about that money, you had a baseline, CDA had a baseline of 4.135 million and expenditure of 7.2 million. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but I'll keep saying it until I'm blue in the face. This is not your money. It's not DSD's money. It's taxpayers' money. This is money coming out of hardworking South African pockets. You don't open a cupboard and bam, there's 7 million, or in a couch. You don't do that. It comes from taxpayers' money. And Chairperson, when I look at our society and I look at our communities, drugs is a scourge. Drugs don't not only affect the individual, they affect the entire family dynamic. They affect the entire community. Go to areas all across South Africa, from Gauteng to the Northern Cape to the Western Cape, all 9 provinces. And one of the main problems, yes, it's unemployment, it's crime, but it's always linked, and Deputy Minister, you made this point, it's always linked to substance abuse. And I agree with the honorable members. It's getting worse. It's not getting better. And in your presentation, you spoke about new drugs. But what are we doing to combat it? What are we doing to the young child in Eldorado Park or in Khayelitsha or in Lenasia or in Ennerdale? How are we making their lives better when the CDA cannot even manage their own finances? What are we saying? What are we saying to young people who are getting addicted to drugs and their lives being ruined, or mothers having to put their children out because they can't deal with this addict child? What are we saying? That we don't care? Because that's what it comes across to me. And I always want to say this, Minister, we can have high-level presentations, we can talk for hours. We must always bring it back to the people of this country and to the young people who just want to have a future in our country, but they are constantly being faced with so many challenges. And drug abuse and substance abuse is one of the biggest challenges. You speak about new drugs. Who knows what's going to happen in 5 years? Who knows? I mean, we read about fentanyl in the USA. We read about how it's killing people, how people we love are overdosing from fentanyl drugs, celebrities dying. What happens when it reaches our shores? What are we going to do? Because we're already woefully unprepared. And it doesn't look very hopeful, if I'm honest with you, Minister. In fact, it's very emotional, because even my family, I have family and I have friends who are suffering with addiction, and their entire lives comes to a stop. And they look at us. And what do? We spend 7 million on meetings, shuttles. Kaya. That's the message we're sending to South Africans. And it's not a happy one. The CDA is an oversight body that is supposed to coordinate a national response. And you end up spending more than 7 million. But the department cannot demonstrate a corresponding set of measurable outcomes. So you spend the 7 million. But what did we as South Africans benefit? Please answer that question. What did we get in return? You spend, as Honorable Du Plessis said, you order food, the food comes, you expect it to be good. You spend 7 million, what did South Africans get? And I'd like a straight answer, I don't want to be lyrical, waxing lyricals. Just tell me, what did we get? Nothing? Just say it. That 176 overspend, was any of it classified as irregular, wasteful, and fruitless expenditure? And how much of it was classified as irregular, wasteful, and fruitless expenditure? You say you've increased the ring fence from 4 million to 6 million. When the CDA has just demonstrated clear, you don't even have to be good in math or finances to know that there's a serious weakness in expenditure control. And Minister, you raised this in your overview. So what additional outputs justify an additional 6 million rand of taxpayers' money? What justifies it? What measurable outputs do you have that we can go to our constituency and we can say, don't worry, DSD is doing the best that they can. In fact, they've just given them 6 million to fight drugs. But how do we justify that to the people that elected us to serve them here in this portfolio committee? I'd really like an answer for that. The department, you speak about an operational surveillance system and SACENDU. Chair, this, we are crippled by, what is it called? Acronyms. So how do you say it? SACENDU? SACENDU. God, just put the full name so at least we know what it is. So can you tell us, why was a national drug survey still necessary if you have an operational surveillance system? And what information gap does this new 3-year research program address? Can you explain the difference? And how much is that going to cost taxpayers? Because now you're going to outsource it, right? I imagine. Because you're going to tell us you don't have capacity. So you're going to tell us you have to outsource it. So how much is that going to cost? Is that part of the 10 million? Is that part of the 6 million? Is that extra? Is it more? You don't give us the information. And then, and I think one of the honorable members asked this, can you provide the committee with evidence of one LDAC that has demonstratively reduced substance abuse in a community as a result of its interventions? Just give us one example. Say, go to Somerset West, there in Stellenbosch. Give us one example that where there has been a change made. Chair, through you, Chair, I think we need, I don't think the information provided to us was sufficient. I think we need a report on data specifically around prevention, around treatment, around harm, around supply, and around outcomes. Because I don't think that substance abuse is decreasing. In fact, I agree with the honorable members, it's increasing. And younger children are being caught up in drugs and substance abuse. What type of a country do we want to have in 10 years? That is something I hope you ask yourself every single day. So, Chair, the presentation gave us very little evidence that the CDA can demonstrate a measurable reduction in any of these outcomes. And like the Honorable Reverend, I'm more confused than I am. I have more questions than I had when I started here. And all I can say is we're in a bad state. Deputy Minister, this country is in a bad state. And we need to change. We are here, we were elected to make a difference. And it's up to us, it's our responsibility to make that difference. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Greetings to the Minister, the Deputy Minister, honorable members, and all the members here. I just want to thank for the two reports. So on my side, it is very much appreciated that you have a data systematic tool that enables the department to take informed decision. Therefore, can you take us into confidence as to the specific policy or program changes that have been made as a result of data generated through the national substance abuse surveillance, electronic system, and SENSU, South African Community Epidemiology Network on drug abuse? And can DSD provide examples where the evidence directly changed government interventions? That is my first question. Secondly, overall, we welcome the responses that have been tendered before the August House. But how do we ensure that the rebranded CDA becomes an even more effective instrument to curtail drugs and alcohol, which have multiplier effects on GBVF and other social ills confronting our communities? From your presentation, we realize that we have many departments. Maybe you can just tell us how many departments you have, and also to outline more on the different departments. But all in all, we heard the explanation fully, and we are aware of the work of this of the Select Committee on Social Services regarding Central Drug Authority. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think it's the last member here, and then we'll follow the visual platform members.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Minister, maybe just by saying we welcome you once more, but it's like you are being fed a poisoned chalice. You are traveling in a slippery road. You are traversing muddied waters. But who is responsible for all these things? The poison chalice that you have been fed is being baked in your department. And I think the chief baker there will be the DG. So we can sit here and say so many things, Honorable Minister. Unless there's a change of heart and attitude by your officials, nothing is gonna change. All that they're going to do next time is to see your immediate exit from the department. So if I was you, I'll take a position that will say, let them exit first. Because if you don't make sure that these bad apples exit the system, they are going to make it sure that you're going to be the first culprit to exit this system. That's a very, very important thing for you to understand what you are dealing with now. And of course, we would expect you to correct the whip on the DG in terms of consequence management. We'll obviously expect the DG to apply consequence management in the department if we are to get this department in the correct shape to be effective, efficient in the manner in which it will be able to serve the interest of the people of this country. the vulnerable people that this department is supposed to serve. And first, also appreciate the presentations that have been made, the restructuring of the CDA. It means we are accepting as officials that we need to reset the button here, re-engineer CDA and so on. But I would have expected the Honorable Minister that would have received a presentation that says we have done some audit of the functionality or performance of CDA. And these are the gaps that we have identified. So therefore, this restructuring must be informed by a certain performance assessment that has been done. Now, I'm not sure what really informs this restructuring proposal that has been made, even though we really appreciate it. Because in my view, ourselves here as politicians are more concerned with the outcome impact. So will this restructuring result in measurable concrete outcomes or impact-based results? And the only measurement around will be that would this restructuring be able to reduce alcohol and drug abuse on the ground? I haven't seen that in the presentation. Maybe it can be reworked again to really reflect on that. I think that's very critical. That with the proposed restructuring, I'm sure it will be positioned to focus on the local sphere where people reside, experience drug and alcohol challenges, and this will be commendable. But however, how will the department ensure that provincial, district, and local action structures are not merely additional coordinating structures without operational capacity, funding, and measurable responsibilities or measurable outcomes? Chair of our portfolio committee, Honorable Masango, you will remember today we're sitting here considering response on the questions that were raised by the select committee. The department still owes the portfolio committee answers, if you can recall when the presentation was made here. And by the then DG, an undertaking was made that the department will come back here and respond to those. Whilst we are considering this, but from the portfolio committee point of view, the department still owes us certain answers in as far as this matter is concerned. I think that's very important for all of us to understand that. And if we could recall in that meeting, the response by the then DG was that CDA is constricted. Constricted meaning that it has very little, if any, of financial freedom. So it cannot account for itself. Now, the accounting officer for the CDA is the DG, and the DG might delegate that to a directorate that must really take responsibility for that. But what is difficult is that CDA gets account because it does not produce its own annual financial statements and audited financial statements and so on. But it does so through the department. And we have been referred here to page 93 and page 194 of the audited financial statements for 2024-2025. But those pages are not attached. So the assumptions that would have gone through that audit report, I haven't gone through it. I'm not sure whether colleagues have gone through it. But what needs to happen, if you make a reference to something, you must attach it. That page 93 and page 194 are not attached in this report, and you want us to assume that the reference made to those pages is indeed a correct reference. It does take us to how the financials of CDA has been accounted to, which is a very big challenge. We know for a fact that CDA does not have financial delegation, and as the secretary has mentioned, we agree. So who accounts for the finances? Is the department, it's not CDA. And that's why in the meeting that we had with the CDA and the portfolio committee, the CDA did not agree to certain items on their financial statement because they were not involved in it, and they do not have financial delegations. How do we expect them to respond to those? And like I said, the DG is the accounting officer of CDA. By way of delegation, DG, you would have a directorate that would have to account to this, not the CDA, the department. That's really not what needs to happen. In as far as budget placement of the CDA is concerned, all that we know is that the budget of CDA falls within vote number 19 of the department. So when the department accounts for vote number 19, the department must also account for the finances of the CDA, not CDA. What would be presented to us for the CDA would be an abstract of the audited financial statements of the department, which is what we would expect from the department to really to be able to do. Those are the issues that we would like to know. Now, Mr. In as far as governance and financial control is concerned, what I may want to know is that given that the Director General of the department is the primary accounting officer for CDA under the PFMA, what specific internal control mechanisms and cost center delegations are in place within the department to ensure that funds allocated for the National Track Master Plan are not reprioritized or absorbed into general departmental administration? And as the secretary was presenting here, he alluded to some environments as a way of responding to question about where expenses have gone way beyond 100%. CDA will not be able to answer for that because it is the department through its internal votes that is able to initiate environments. And CDA is not involved in that instance. It is the department that is involved in dealing with those environments, as the secretary has mentioned. So we can't be holding the CDA responsible for that. This lies squarely on the shoulders of the department. And since the CDA does not produce standalone audited financial statements, how does the department break down and ring-fence the actual versus budgeted expenditure for the CDA in its annual report, specifically regarding board remuneration, provincial subcommittee support, and strategic interventions? We are expecting that the department must be able to really have a clear line of division as far as these matters is concerned. And maybe on operational and capacity matter, does the absence of independent financial delegation under Schedule 3A status compromise CDA's operational independence to execute its oversight mandate over other government departments? And has the ministry considered legislative amendments to review the CDA's administrative placement? Given the presentation that we received now suggesting the restructuring of CDA. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, allow me to thank you, but we are not yet finished because I ought to give some members I'll start in the visual platform. I'll come to you, my co-chairperson as well. Sorry. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. It's my colleague because we're working together in the National Assembly. I'm from the National Assembly. Don't forget about that. No, not that one. Okay, let's go to the visual platform. I'll start with Honorable Marais and then followed by Honorable Finis. Honorable Marais. Yes.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I have a question to ask. The first one, and our colleagues has raised all the things that I wanted to raise. The first thing, when we had a meeting with CDA, the Deputy Minister was shocked to hear there's a budget. The Deputy Minister wasn't even aware there's a budget because that is his portfolio as well, CDA. Now they come and tell us that people were traveling because they had meetings. CDA's board members told us there was no traveling. They did all their meetings on Zoom. For the past 13 years that CDA is in existence, every 5 years, they change their board members. There's no one that is going over to the next one because there's no continuity. There's nothing because every time when it happened, they bring in new people because they don't want to know other people to know what is really going on in CDA. There is no budget for CDA. The budget that they're going to implement now, I want to ask the question, is it going to be enough? Because if I've listened to the presentation, they are bringing 14 DGs and I don't know what and what and what. But problem is, where is the funding for that? And the fundamental question that we want to ask, we've been asking this, and every time they give us answers and they're not responding to what we are really asking. How many people were cured? How many beds are available? Like the first honorable member was asking, how many beds are available in every province and region? How many Lakdak is working in local government? You are coming now with a new name and a new thing. It keeps on you just put big things on paper. But the reality of the matter is nothing is happening on the ground. People on the ground are not even feeling you, not even 1% or 0.5%, because nothing is happening. CDA was just overseeing all the things. But what are we doing about the drug abuse and alcohol abuse? Because that is the main reason why we're having gender-based violence in this country. It's because of drug abuse and alcohol abuse. And we're sitting with a crisis in South Africa. But you are still coming here and say, we got this new thing now, it's going to be alcohol and drug body and I don't know what and what. The problem that I have is people keep on coming and you're repeating over and over the same things, but nothing is happening on the ground. I'm talking about experience. My brother is a drug addict. My mother's house was stolen empty because of my brother. You don't have to go very far. And I'm not shy to say that my brother's a drug addict. He's a drug addict, the youngest brother. He's giving my mother a yell. We in Parliament, we social development, we made a law to say that older people must be protected. They mustn't be abused. They mustn't go through trauma and things. It is happening in my house. This thing to me is very personal. And you come and make jokes here. You come and bring the same CDA things that you had before. And it's just copy and paste all the time. You come and you ask you questions. You tell us a lot of things, but it's not happening on the ground. Show me where did you make a difference and in what area did you make a difference? Throughout South Africa, here in my area, I'm staying, 4 children has died because of a new drug here in Bloemfontein. 4 children in 1 week. And you still come and say, no, we're going to change the name. We have just registered this thing and that thing. It went through all this. It is nonsense what you are talking. You are taking us for fools in this portfolio because we are working on the ground here. We know what is happening on the ground. And you are saying you are making a difference. There's no difference. Show me where's the difference. And you can have as much things on black and white, like the first person was saying, but it is not happening. Come to us and show us the proof that these people didn't have meetings, Zoom meetings. They were traveling up and down. Show us the money they were spending, because they were even shocked when they were said they were traveling. There's no traveling cost for them. And that's why the same people didn't come back, because you don't want people to know what is happening in CDA. CDA is a mess. CDA is a big mess. And then you come here with all these different wording that you're just putting in just to make it look nice. There's nothing nice about this thing. CDA is a mess, and people are dying on a daily basis. A young boy, Simon, just died now. Not even 20 years old because of drugs. 4 of them passed away. Every day people see 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, the house has been breaking because of drugs. In my next city, there's 8 drug houses, and the police knows about it. But nothing is being done about it. And then you come here and you paint a picture, everything is just fine. It's not fine. You must come with proof. You must tell us how many money was spent, who spent that money, how many money are you going to bring in now? That 10 million is not going to be enough, because you're going to have different structures now. It is every time just structures, but it's not happening on the ground. Chairperson. And I'm very disappointed with the way people are reporting here. And now when they're going to report back now to us, when they're going to answer our questions, they're going to be as vague as always. It's happening all the time. And I'm so tired of this, because it's the same people answering the same questions over and over. I'm so tired of these questions that they are giving to us. I'm so disappointed with what is happening with the department. And the minister, like my colleague was saying, they are telling you lies, and they are throwing you on the bus because you don't know what's happening there. You must go and do an investigation to see what's really going on in your department. Otherwise, you're also going to leave a department without knowing what is going on there, like a previous minister. Chairperson, this thing, I cannot accept this, the report that they are giving us here. I'm so sorry.